More than half of the world's population now live in urban areas, increasingly in highly dense cities. However, urban settings are relatively new in human history. This transition is transformed by the way we live, work, travel, and build networks. The UN estimates show that 2007 was the year when, for the first time, more people in the world lived in urban than in rural areas. The UN estimates this milestone even when the number of people in urban areas overtook the number in rural settings occurred in 2007. You can explore the data on urban and rural populations. Estimates on urban populations vary mainly as a result of disagreements on the exact definition of an urban area and what this includes. Just under 1 in 3 people in urban areas globally live in a slum household. A slum household is defined as a group of individuals living under the same roof lacking one or more of the following conditions: access to improved water, access to improved sanitation, sufficient living area, and durability of housing. The most recent global estimates suggest just under 1 in 3 people in urban areas lived in slum households. The share of the urban population living in slums by country is shown in the chart. This data is available from the year 1990 year. We see that in the latest data, most countries across Asia and Latin America, between 10 to 30% of urban populations living in slum households, some slightly higher. Slum households were most prevalent across sub-Saharan Africa. Most had more than half of urban populations living in slum households, and some such as Sudan, South Sudan, and Central African Republic at more than 90%. We see that over time, for most countries, the share of urban population living in slums has been falling from 1990 to 2014. For example, the share of the urban population in slum households fell from 44 to 25% in China, 55 to 24% in India, 37 to 22% in Brazil, 77 to 50% in Nigeria. For most of human history, populations lived in very low density rural settings. Urbanization is a trend unique to the past few centuries. By 2050, it's projected that more than 2/3 of the world population will live in urban areas. It's projected that close to 7 billion people will live in urban areas in 2050. People tend to migrate from rural to urban areas as they become richer. Living standards tend to be higher in urban areas, and there are many examples across broad areas of development, which suggests that on average, living standards are higher in urban populations than in rural. Some examples include: in nearly all countries, electricity access is higher in urban areas than in rural areas. Access to improved sanitation is higher in urban areas. Access to improved drinking water is higher in urban areas. Access to clean fuel for cooking and heating is higher in urban areas. Child malnutrition is lower in urban settings. Projections show that urbanization, the gradual shift in residence of the human population from rural to urban areas, combined with the overall growth of the world's population, could add another 2.5 billion people to urban areas by 2050, with close to 90% of this increase taking place in Asia and Africa, according to a new United Nations dataset. Today, the most urbanized regions include Northern America, with 82% of its population living in urban areas in 2018, Latin America and the Caribbean 81%, Europe 74%, and Oceania 68%. The level of urbanization in Asia is now approximating 50%. In contrast, Africa remains mostly rural, with 43% of its population living in urban areas. Tokyo is the world's largest city, with an agglomeration of 37 million inhabitants, followed by New Delhi with 29 million, Shanghai with 26 million, and Mexico City and Sao Paulo, each with around 22 million inhabitants. Today, Cairo, Mumbai, Beijing, and Dhaka all have close to 20 million inhabitants. In 2020, Tokyo's population was projected to begin to decline, while Delhi was projected to continue growing and to become the most popular city in the world around 2028. By 2030, the world is projected to have 43 megacities with more than 10 million inhabitants, most of them in developing regions. However, some of the fastest growing urban agglomerations are cities with fewer than 1 million inhabitants, many of them located in Asia and Africa. While 1 in 8 people live in 33 megacities, worldwide close to half of the world's urban dwellers reside in much smaller settlements with fewer than 500,000 inhabitants.